So good morning, everybody, and I would like to welcome you and thank you for coming here to give me this opportunity to share my experience and my understanding of the Buddhist teaching. So as you know that today's subject, the topic is a Buddhist perspective on life and destiny. Okay, so we all have a very personal reasons to come here. Okay, let's reflect and ask ourselves the reasons why we decided on Saturday morning to come here. And what is your initial thought that you want to register for this class? That you would give yourself 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours to come. So what are the reasons? And I was thinking about it when I was preparing this handout. Personally, is because I want to improve my life. Not only to improve my life, I would like to know why things happen the way they do. How I'm going to improve the quality of my life to be a bit happier, not only for myself, but also to understand others, people around me who I care, and how I'm going to have a better relationships with them. So I think that was the initial reasons why I first start coming to this temple in 1997, 98, to start learning about myself and start learning about my life. And then further, I would also want to know about the lives of other people, because I realized eventually that how my life can be impacted and also how other people's lives can be impacted by my own personal experience and action. And also how other people's life can be impacted by my own action. So I took the time to examine and also investigate and dissecting the teaching. So I dive deep into it. I want to help myself and help others. I'm still on the path. I'm still on the way of doing it. I'm not perfect yet, because there's so much to find out about myself and also find out about other people who are close to me. Okay, so have you ever heard the comments from yourself or from the people around you? It's not fair. And they like to complain. We like to complain. Just watch our thoughts, right? We like to complain. When we complain, when we're not happy, when we are agitated, the reason why we complain, the reason why we have these comments, it's not fair. I wonder if you remember a couple weeks ago, Sifu give our handout about the Buddha statue and the gong. I don't know if you remember that, right? So that's a very good story, illustrate why the reasons sometimes why we have such an expression, why we have such a feeling that this is not fair. So I think that story really helps me to go even deeper to understand the cause and conditions, and also is it a destiny of the statue to understand the reasons and what is all coming from. The destiny of the gong. Please take note, they are both made of the same essence, isn't it? It's the same essence, the same elements. So what is that gong and that statue made of? Anyone can remember the story? Yes. They both have a very same essence, and made of the same essence, would be like our essence, our true nature. But why the statue and the gong? They have a different destination, destiny. So when we look back, we all have a very different path and the destiny and the things that are happening to us in life. So now we can examine what is destiny understanding what's destiny. We need to understand that in order to rectify, to consolidate what is bothering us, like why we are not happy, why things are happening the way they do. How I'm going to rectify that, resolve that. Okay, so I might need a volunteer to say it out, the first 5 lines on my handout. Anybody would raise the hand to just the first 5 lines. Okay, Annie? A bit louder so everybody can. I want you to really sing in. Layer and layer as Anne is saying it, layer and layer, line by line. Try to be mindful and contemplate what it is saying.
Keep your thoughts positive, because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive, because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive, because your behavior becomes your habits. Keep your habits positive, because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive, because your values become your destiny.
Okay, so what it's saying would be whatever happens to us, there is a cause previously, and it has nothing to do with other people. So this cause is created and caused by our own habits. As you can read the first 5 lines, is the thought in our mind, the way how we speak and interact with other people is actually, it comes from the initial motivation, comes from our thought. So our behavior, the way how we act, manifests itself. Actually, is through the way how we think, the way how we perceive ourselves and others when we are interacting to other person or interacting with yourself. Because this is the way how you perceive yourself, and this is the way how you perceive others. And that's the cause, that's the reason why you react the way that you react. So then what it's saying is, Buddha's teaching is saying is, okay, so whatever is happening to you, please reflect and go inside and to try to dissect yourself, the way you think. And perhaps you can go in to do something about it. When you can do something about it, then things might improve. And that's how the teaching comes in. Buddha teachings offers a step-by-step system to guide us through. Okay, so the first part, that how we are dissecting ourselves, is saying that, okay, initially is actually the way you behave, the way your interactions comes from your thought, the way how you think. Also, the way how we speak to others is also affected, impacted by the way we think. And when we push further, we act on that thought. So that's why we always say that, okay, you think before you act, right? Or you think before you say something. Step back, take a deep breath, think about it, filter the thought first. If you will show up, if you have a negative thought in your mind, so what would happen when you say something? What you say, the speech would be negative. What is negative? How do you define negative or unwholesome? Okay, unwholesome or negative can be defined as something that does not benefit you and does not benefit others. So then we do not do, because if we do it, would it be silly to do it, right? It would be silly to do something or to say something that it does not benefit myself, at the same time hurt others. Why would I want to do it? Okay, so here it offers the insight, but the Buddha cannot do it for you. We have to dissect ourselves. I literally mean dissecting yourself, the way how you think, the body and mind. You have to dissect layer and layer and go deep to find out, to dig out, and to remove it. So they would say that, okay, the mind, your habit, is like a hard drive, like a computer, right? It's ingrained, is in your mind, the habit. We just do it very automatically. It's like an autopilot. Have you ever heard people say, oh, I'm just autopilot, I just do it like this. I just, without thinking, it just automatically. Have we ever find ourselves in that situation? It's a very automatic, right? Because this is our habit already for not only in the past 5 years or in the past 42 years or 50 years, but accumulations of a lot times and space. Accumulations of all the thoughts, all the deeds, all the habits, all the karmic seeds. And when the conditions are right, and all the whatever that we have done in the past, the cause, would manifest as an effect in our life, just like the Buddha statue and the gong, right? So you say, oh, it's not fair. Why? So that story is a very good illustration. That's why I thought I would borrow this story to share with you, to illustrate even clearer. So even these two, you see, they are both sitting. They are both placed in the main shrine that people would go to pay respect, but they have a different destiny, a role to play. Okay, as you would go back, you refer to the note. The habits defined as habitual thoughts, habitual speech, and habitual actions. Can you hear me? So I don't think that I don't need that, yeah. Okay, we just went through that. So Buddha's teaching places a lot of emphasis, a lot of systems, the how, step by step. I'm sure that you received the hangout from Sifu, the Four Noble Truths. The second part of the handout, it talks about the 5 aggregates, right? So there's such a system to dissect our mind, the way how we think, the way how we interact using the 5 aggregates, the way how we interact with ourselves and also with the world outside of us. So this is how the system is so complete, is there to help us. Okay, so we went through what is habits, how we define habits. It's like autopilot. We just do it automatically. The reasons why we practice mindfulness meditations, Sifu has been spending so many hours finding all the stories and all the handouts for us to remind us what? To be mindful, right? So to be mindful, would it help us in our daily life? How being mindful, how doing the mindfulness meditations can help us to go even deeper into the way how we think and how we behave and how we speak, talk to others. So that is the way that to help us. So the importance is of habits. I don't know if you read about this book, I think Sifu has already emailed you too, as an e-file. So Master Xingyuan, I think in the last part of the booklet, talking about, okay, so what controls destiny? Like what is controlling, right? And also, what would be the remedy? So that we can talk about it later. so we will touch on karma. Anybody has any understanding of how karma works? Have we have the classes on karma, right? We have. Yeah, on karma. Okay, karma is basically a volitional and intentional actions. Okay, this is a will action, meaning that you commit and carry something with the intent. It's not all actions cause karma, but only with the intentional, like with the intent, that would cause karma. And that is originating from the mind of an individual or any one of us, as I said earlier. So it's in our mind, the way how we react, how we interact with ourselves and with others. It comes back to the mind, which has a determined effect at some future time. So what we call would be the cause. At the future time would be the effect of this particular intent or particular action caused by an intentional thought. So that's what would cause the karma, and it would play out in our life, entire life. So that's what we call the destiny. So nobody have the control to say that, okay, you are destined to this and this and this and this. And if you do this and do this and do this and do this, then I will give you something that you like. So this does not work that way. You have to work on it yourself. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, our actions, our deeds, our intent can be categorized into 3 types of karmic effect. The first one, as we said, would be positive or wholesome. So how do we define as a wholesome and positive karma? So there will be the something that we do would benefit ourselves and also benefit others. If it's a negative or unwholesome act or deed, that would not be benefiting to yourself and would not be beneficial to others, might cause harm. The third one would be, it's kind of neutral, because we do things every day. We do it mindlessly or without intent. There's no intent. So that would not create wholesome or unwholesome. It's just something that it happened. So that's how we define. So any questions so far? Okay, now we can go through to the next one. Yeah, I would just go by the handout. So we cover the understanding the destiny, and also we have to understand the life. That would be, there's few points that we need to go through. For example, what constitutes negative karma or behavior or unwholesome? So if you refer to the note on page 2, the sources where negative and unwholesome actions carried out and karma generated. So number 1 is a bodily action. So and we commit killing, stealing, and sexual misconduct. That is your bodily actions. So where does a speech come in? Relying, harsh speech, gossiping, and divisive talk. The mind, the greed, the hatred, and the ignorance. So all the teachings, all the system, all the cultivations is try to clean up the mind. What is the cluster in our mind, and how are we going to dissecting them and cleanse it, dig them all out? So this is one way of doing it. So this is the basic, the source of whether negative and wholesome actions that we need to pay attention to be mindful about that. And also I think the other night, a friend asked, what is so we talk about a lot of individually, like individual karma, individual actions, and how we do things for ourselves, and how we should be mindful about ourselves, and to guard our thought and the way how we do things and the way how we interact with others. So the questions that she raised was, how about collectively? Whatever we do, does it affect others? But as I said earlier, in the earlier part of the discussion, so yes, collectively, there are personal karma and also collective karma. Personal karma would be, the karma would be committed, the cause that's created by individually, and that effect would be also felt, impact that person, that individual. So that's a very personal. But collectively, so because we are so interdependent, we are not really separate from our environment. We are not really separate from our natural world. So therefore, collectively, for example, here, we all came here with a collective reason, I would say the cause. So what is the collective cause? Because we all want to be a better person. We want to be happier. We want to improve our lives. And also to improve the lives of others. And so this is a collectively. You can say that this is a collective, the cause by a group of people. But if a group of people, they would come together, they're all motivated and also impacted by a cause. But if that cause is not a very wholesome, it's not a very positive cause, so that could also impact a lot of other people. Within a collective karma, there's also is individually too. When we look at further, when we see some natural disaster, or not necessarily natural disaster, but in the company, in the office, whatever, like if the company pay at the end of the year, they make profit. So they decided to give some bonus to the employees, but I believe that each individual would receive a different amount of bonus at the end of the year, individually. So even if collectively, everyone enjoys a bonus at the end of the year, but we might receive it differently. Because I don't want to use natural disaster, but we can also use natural disaster, tsunami, or also the nuclear plant meltdown 3 years ago, and all the wars, conflicts, the bloodshed in the human histories. So I'm sure that all of us here, it doesn't matter what age that we are at, I believe directly, indirectly, we are all touched by the war, by the conflicts among humanity. So when we look at that, okay, you see, okay, what do I have to do with it? Would I contribute something? Am I also partly responsible for these conflicts, for these bloodsheds? Okay, further, the Buddhist teaching takes further. You say, yes, collectively we contribute to that karmic energy, the consciousness, the collective consciousness. If you really want to go further, yes, we are all responsible one way or the other, but we don't know the degree of the relationship could be vary. So to answer that lady's questions, yes, we do things personally, yes, affect us, but there are consequences personally and also collectively in your family, in your office, your co-workers, in the community, in the country, in the world, and also outside of this planet. I don't know if you heard the news this morning when I was coming here. There was news coming morning. They are, I wasn't really listening for the whole news, but the news was saying that, I don't remember the name, that they have decided to have a one-way trip to the Mars, to one of the planets. But it's a one-way. I don't know how does it work. You see, now we are not only wanting to do things in this particular planet, but we want to go. So why this trip is possible? Why this trip? Why this person would decide they want to take a trip to go Mars and one way?
That was, I think they're trying to colonize it.
I'm sorry?
They're trying to terraform it, I think.
To carry?
To terraform it so that people can live there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Yeah, I know that.
That's why it's just one way.
Yes, that's one way, yes. You see? Can you imagine what is in making our collective thought, right? Maybe not you, but I think that some individuals in this particular planet have that thought, right? Okay, you know, eventually the Earth is not livable because the pollution is horrendous. There's so much destructions. I have so much money, you know. I'm going to hell with this planet Earth. I'm going to go somewhere else. Okay, why this trip is possible? Why there's a thought that they want to go to Mars? So there's a one way that because they want to live there, they want to find out whether livable or not, right? So that is also a collective. Maybe not you, but in some individuals in this particular hemisphere contribute that thought. So now is carry out. The thought is carry out. You talk about, okay, I want to live there. So I think in the last 10, 20 years, the technology is so advanced that they can have all kinds of technology in place to make this trip possible from a thought. The actual actions and now is taking off. So that illustrates you how our humanity, how we, when you see what's happening, actually, when you see what's happening in the world, actually is a manifestations of our inner world, and you will see that is actually is what we are thinking inside. So it manifests, it's a manifestation, right? So what's happening? So sometimes, oh, you know, this is no good, you know, this is no good, and we complain, but actually, without understanding, without knowing that actually we are contributing to things that we are complaining. So because we might be doing exactly the same thing, we are actually contributing to this negative event, or we are also responsible to contributing a very, very positive event. For example, yesterday when I was driving, going home, I was hearing also from the news. It's collectively, I listened to this. I think it's the police, Scott, it's a police, I think it's a police force, I think Toronto. They're launching fundraising for the Cancer Society. I think they start doing it in 85 or 95 for a long time. So I think it's today, right? I think today. Okay, because they are shaving the head. Okay, you see, this is the thought. Someone had it in the mind. They want to do something positive to offer the support to the people who suffer, who are faced with this disease. And they want to, I think they raised last year 15,000. Now, so far they raised 15,000. They want to have, they are launching a campaign, or they're trying to do something big. So they want to raise more money to give it to Cancer Society, because they feel that they really believe in what they do, and they want to help them. They want to contribute, you see. the thought may be generated from one individual, but it's a manifest, and he influenced the people around him. Now is a police force. You know how many people, how many employees in police force? A lot. That's a lot. You see, if this project takes off, if the intent is pure, if his intent is good, you see what kind of influence he can make. So I just want to give you a positive examples. I don't want to give you too many negative examples, but this is a good things that we can see, we can feel in the community, and how we can change our life and change the life of the community or the humanity, to offer that inspirations, to offer that inspiration for change. And so that's what Master Xing Yuan suggests in this booklet. There's a remedy, right? To be compassionate. What do you mean by compassionate? Wisdom and compassion are very big in Buddhist teaching. First, we have to learn about wisdom to help ourselves. The next things, after we understand ourselves, understand others, we have to learn to be compassionate. You help yourself individually, you help yourself, and then after you have that benefit, you have that wisdom, you reach out to act on the compassionate thought. So Master Xing Yuan, he has 4 remedies at the end of the book. Number 1, I think number 1 and 4, maybe 5 or 6. The first one, what is the first one? I think it's a right view. Right view. Meaning that when we have a thought, when we do something, when we carry out our thought, we have to examine whether or not that thought is a right view, is a right thought. That thought can be impaired, right? It can be impaired. Can be very poisonous. If that thought has all kinds of greed or anger, so it would not be benefit to others. So Master Xing Yuan say, first of all, we have to examine ourselves to see whether or not we have that right view when we act on it, before we act on it. But before the right view can be achieved, can be obtained, what did he suggest in the book? Morality. We have to uphold precepts. We have to follow the rules. We have to obey the laws. So this is the first step how right view can be developed. Otherwise, what would happen to us? Right? We will be off, isn't it? We will be off. So this is the second thing that we have to step by step. So what will be the third thing that Master Xing Yuan suggests that we should do? Okay. Has a strong faith, I think we covered that, strong faith and belief, meaning that you do good for yourself, individual, for the country, and also, I know a lot of people, a lot of us are very sensitive, are very allergic to the word religions. Are we? Are we very sensitive, are very, to the word? Religions, right? We don't want to talk about religions. It's a dirty word, right? But I think what the Master Xing Yuan has suggested is religious is good for us. It provides a good ground of moral values. If we can all follow that moral values each religious has to offer, we have taken the first step to be a good person. So this is very important. See, also there's a criteria. One of the criteria as to how you can change your life, as to how you can change or affect your destiny. We have to pay a price. You say, oh, I want this, I want this. I read, I saw someone, it was a very funny cartoon. It said, there's a whole bunch of people, and then there's a teachers there, And then he said, okay, I want mindfulness, I want mindfulness, I want mindfulness. And the teacher said, when? When you want? Now, I want that now. But can you just have a mindfulness like now, like this? We have to work on it, right? We have to work on it. We have to really take the steps to work on it. And so what would be the second thing that, the next things that Master Hsing Yun has suggested? How we can alter our destiny, how we can alter the way we want our life to go. So you might not have read this. To have a good relationships, right? So we already have covered earlier. We have to cultivate a good relationships with others. How do I do that? With whom should I develop a good relationships? With yourself, number one. So what do you mean? Nurture yourself. Come to a class like this. To learn all the good things that can help you. To have the knowledge and understanding and the insight that can help you to nurture our body and mind. So this is how you can have a good relationship with yourself. Once you have a healthy body and mind, the way how you interact with your family members when you get up first thing in the morning. We start first thing in the morning. When you wake up, when you see your children, your spouse, whoever, your parents, your brothers and sisters, ask yourself how I'm going to greet this person in my household. You ask yourself and you make the decisions from there. And the next thing you go to, if most of us work, then you go to the office, or the people, the strangers that you meet on the way, the bus, in front of the traffic light, or go train. I don't know what kind of transportations that you take, but I'm sure that we must encounter human on the way to work. So you just have a good thought and also go to work too. So that's how you start, and how you start the good relationships with others. And that's how you start it. Not when I come to the meditations for 2 hours and I'll be a good person, I'm sitting there. But no, Buddha said that no. You have to apply that training in your daily life as you wake up, observe your mind and to be mindful what you say and what you think. Because what you think first thing in the morning would affect the rest of your day. And I'm sure that Sifu has also give us some handout about this family having breakfast. Do you remember the story? Yes. Yeah, you remember? So this is a very good story to illustrate that. So the chain reactions, at the end of the day, what happened? The whole day went wrong, right? So we can laugh, because when we can laugh, meaning that we reflect on us. Have we ever done that? Has it ever happened to us? It might have many times. But we are not aware of why we're not aware of, because we are so busy to blame others, right? It's not my fault. It's your fault. It's not me, right? Because we're not aware. We are not aware, we do not know. We are not mindful of the way how we think, how we react. We are too fast. We are so fast to protect ourselves, right? In a way it's good, but in a way it might not be very good, because we will suffer at the end. Because look at the story, the father, right? His daughter was upset with her. He got a speeding ticket, and then when he got back to the office, I think he had a really bad day. And when we got home, he realized that something wrong with his wife and his daughter. Nobody was talking to him. So that story illustrates our daily life and how we should treat our day, with what kind of mindset, and to help us. So I thought that I will borrow the story from Sifu and to share with you, to illustrate to you how to develop a good relationship. upholding precepts, we talk about it. We talk about how to be compassionate. We talk about, well, here's the merits and repentance. Master Xing suggests that merits, you can perform merits in many, many ways. To be grateful, to say thank you, to say good words to the people that are around you, to say thank you to yourself. So those are the merits that you can accumulate and give it to yourself. I think to be grateful is such an important aspect of to have a better life. Look at this place. I came here in 1997, 98. I can never stay away from this place. I'm so grateful for Master Xing. Without him, I would not have a chance to learn, to have the insight about myself. All the valuables, all the Sifu, they work so hard. They work from morning until night. And all the members, look at how all the volunteers, how they work hard. Not only the time, the experience, the expertise, but also financially they help. So therefore we have this beautiful place. We have a beautiful Chan Hall on the 3rd floor. Do we not have something to be very grateful for? Huh? Say a prayer of a great gratitude for today, for this very, very moment. And try to complain less. Complaining does not create very positive energy in you. Complaining, what kind of energy it would create? I want some hands up. I want to know. If you are complaining all the time, if you're not satisfied all the time, if you always blame others, what you would feel? What kind of day do you have? What kind of person? You won't be happy. Okay, I want another hands up.
Negative.
Yes. What do you define being negative?
Yeah, it's not good for yourself, and it's not good for anybody else.
Yes. So we try to not to complain too much, reflect on ourselves, go in and to dissect the way how we do things, and take a look at how we interact, how we act, before you blame, before you complain. Because complaining does not do any good. I realize it now. It takes me many, many years. I still complain once in a while. I'm not perfect, as I said, but much, much less. I'm learning, right? I'm not perfect. Because complaining is such a lousy feeling. Not content. I want this, I want this. Complaining is greed, right? It's a greed, it's one of the poison in the mind. We have to eliminate it. That's what the Master Xing and the Buddha has suggested. That's what we have to do, right? It does not feel good. It does not feel good. It eats you up. The greed eats us up without even knowing. So I think that's what is being suggested in Master Xing book and his teaching. To be grateful. As soon as you get up in the morning, to be grateful. When we come to this place, to this temple, to be grateful. We come to the main shrine to say to Buddha, I'm so thankful that I have this place to come, to learn, and to help me to be a happier person, and to say thank to all the Sifu here, whether you know them or not. Because collectively, they all contribute. They all make a contribution. I see them all these years. They all make a selfless contributions to make this place for us. That's why we can come to learn, right? To know each other. So that's how I would suggest how we can start the day. It's the thought of gratitude. When we have the great thought of gratitude, you will feel that you will see things start to change. Because with a thought of gratitude, it tells a lot. Because it does not have in the gratitude, it does not have the elements of what? It does not have the elements of greed. In gratitude, it's absence of what? Anger. You don't feel anger in gratitude, right? Before you can be gratitude is because you understand. So ignorance is removed from your thought. That's simple. It's not from me, from Master Xing Yuan, from Buddha. So that is the instructions that they have left for us. All the Bodhisattva, all the Buddhas, that's what they have, the simple way. And that's what I thought that I would conclude with these suggestions, and I will act on it myself. It's not easy because we are not perfect yet. I'm still a human. But I will remember it, and I will try to do that because I want to be a happier and peaceful person. And I want to carry that energy. So therefore, the energy can influence the people that I'm in contact with. I want that. That's compassionate thought. So I thought I would stop here. And of course, you can have to read the note, but basically I cover what the handouts are. And any questions so far?